For our next artwork, we're going to just go down the road. So we're still near Mycenaean Citadel, but we're going to head down the ramp, and then here we are. So we were just here at Grave Circle A and the Lion Gate. We're going to go down and around. Here is when you take a tour bus to Mycenae. That's where you're going to stop. We're going to go down this road. So right here. See, there's a little drop-off point. So let's go hike over this way. We're going to stand right here. This is our next artwork. Ooh, ah. So the title of this is the Tholos tomb. And then it's put in parentheses, its nickname. The nickname is the Treasure of Atreus. It's a nickname, but it's not proper. It's not correct. It's an assumed thing, so we don't want to encourage people to think it's the Treasure of Atreus because it's not. It's more correctly the description of a Tholos tomb. What's a Tholos tomb? And what's the Treasure of Atreus? Okay, good questions. Well, it's a tomb, so it was a burial site. And Tholos, I'll explain it in a little bit, but it's basically the shape of the tomb. And we know that this was a burial site, unlike the misleading nickname Treasure of Atreus. Now, it's going to get overwhelming for some of you, and you probably don't care, but I'm going to explain it anyways. It's called by the nickname Treasure of Atreus because when people started to dig around this site, they were believing this to be the original location of the great king Atreus, who was part of the attack on Troy, that city that I showed you in the map. And so when they found this space, they thought, ooh, this must have been some kind of giant treasure trove that was looted in ancient times. No, it's not. It's a tomb. Okay? Okay. So here's the walk up, and we see similar cyclopean masonry on either side, and then you can see it's covered by dirt. It's misleading to think that this is cut into the ground, like we're going down into a cavern or a cave. No. In fact, and go back to this one here, we were standing right there looking down here. This tomb was built and then covered with dirt. So it wasn't cut into the earth. The earth was put on top of it. Oh, wow. To give you a sense of scale, here's some people in front of the entrance. It's big, right? It also helps you see the not only the scale of it, but the scale of the mound itself, and it helps you better imagine what we believe the original exterior to have looked like. Something along the lines of this. On either side of the doorway, there is evidence of an architectural column, and then, oh, check it out, a lintel that has a corbelled arch. Okay, for the architecture nerds in the class, you're loving this, right? I can tell. This is the technology that we were just talking about with Lion Gate. I said that a lintel cannot hold the stress of that weight from above, and so you create a relieving triangle with corbelled arches. In this reconstruction, I don't like that the artist thought that this is what it would look like. I don't think that that's true, but it does help us understand that that top triangle would have been filled in with something, but I don't think it was this. I think that's totally wrong. Anyways, you want to go inside? Let's go. Ooh, so now we're inside, and we're looking at the doorway and the triangle from the other side. Whoa, right? I know. Now the structure is, well, round and domed. And you can see that here, how the stonework comes together at the top in the center. And then remember, on the outside, it's all covered with dirt, with earth. This type of shape is created using technology I already introduced you to. Corbelling. Oh, where's my definition of it? There it is. Don't worry, I'll go back to the other slides. So a corbelled dome. What do I mean? Corbelled dome? Well, just like we did a corbelling to make an arch, and then if we were to extend it to make a vault, what if you were to do a corbelled arch and just rotate it and build around? Instead of extending, you just did it at 360. Well, then you get a dome, and that's what this is. So the blocks have been brought together up and around to create a corbelled dome. The significance of this structure is that this is the oldest remaining example of the oldest surviving example of a large domed space. It's not to say that they're the first to do it or the only ones to do it. There were plenty of other ones, but this is the most well intact, original in shape and construction. So we're seeing this corbelled space. Now, it also looks kind of smooth, doesn't it? That's because the stonework, once it was connected, the workers smoothed the interior to make this really uniform slope of the dome. Now, I went back to the previous slide. We don't want to call this the treasure of Atreus because that's not correct. Instead, let's just describe it. What it is a Tholos dome. Tholos, I've highlighted it in yellow. Tholos is Greek for a circular shape, domed space. I've given the term beehive because I believe that's the one that's in your textbook glossary. I'm not quite sure. But a circular plan. So circular, round, planned, or shape of a building. And then it has this kind of cone dome, beehive dome. Here, this is a cutaway to help you understand the corbelled vault. And it's called a beehive because beehives are made into this kind of conical shape as well. But the round dome is called a tholos. And then it is a tomb because we have evidence of burials here. Back to this cutaway. The approach was called the dromos, and then the interior circular domed space is a tholos, and evidence within the tholos shows that bodies would have been laid to rest and perhaps some offerings. Maybe this would have been the site of the ceremony, blanking on the term. This is where the body would be laid and people would come and give thanks or give praise to it. And then the body would be placed into a side chamber where other bodies from family members would also have been buried beneath. So you have a large kind of central space for the most recent dead, and then they would be respectfully placed into a side chamber with other family members. Interesting, right?